My story isn't cool or monumental, but it is mine. As I tell it to you, listen to see how you would fill in these circles. I was raised in a good conservative Christian home. I was a good kid. I wanted to make my parents proud. I liked to draw and write. I also liked to make inventions like booby traps to my room and strings that turned my light switch on from my bed. When I was little, my mom helped me hang all my drawings around the house and invited our neighbors over for my first art show to see masterpieces of things like sharks eating cars. In 6th grade, an art teacher selected me out of the whole class to paint one of the wall panels in the art room. I also noticed I had a huge empathy for people who struggled. I played soccer, and I remember one season we had lost every game except for one which we had tied. I cried as we were walking away from the field because, quote, the other team didn't get to win. About that time, I also started having severe internal battles. Confusing sexual impulses started appearing, and they weren't always what they were supposed to be. And then later, as I saw inconsistencies in the Bible and how it didn't seem to adequately answer the questions my culture was asking, doubt plagued me as well. In my mind, what my parents would think, both of these were the worst things to be. Even though fear isn't often the best motivator for some things, it motivated me to find solutions to these. I eventually realized I was giving too much weight to my sexuality concerns. The more you fear them, the more power they have, and most people have surprising sexuality thoughts. Talk to me if you'd like to know what else helped me get through that. But my doubts in God persisted. My creative and logical mind became a strong engine to manufacture solutions to my questions with Christianity. My writing became how I could give some of these solutions to the world. I was good at art, but I didn't really know how I could relay the answers through art. In high school, I remember working really hard on a short story for one whole summer, but it didn't really seem like people enjoyed it. And I started a novel that would contain much of these answers to doubt that were helping me, folded into a story that was inspired by the beautiful things I found in Christianity. But I worked tirelessly on it, and when I showed people, they said the writing wasn't very good, and they didn't really get it. To my dismay, I was discovering I am not naturally talented at what I am most passionate about. But I was so passionate about the writing that I wrote over 600 blogs and a few books. I did illustrations to supplement the message. I ended up writing for Boundless, which is a Focus on the Family Young Adults blog, for a year, and a lot of people reached out and said that they were helped by what I wrote. But it was so much work for me to craft each blog, and there was a lot of pushback from the editors to get my blogs right. I did still like inventing stuff, so I went into a career where I got to do that. I got a degree in industrial design and went into a job designing garden gnomes. I was designing outdoor decor like bird feeders, trellises, wind chimes, and planters, but I did get to draw garden gnome designs. All this drawing helped to hone my art skills, and I found I would just get absorbed into that drawing process. I enjoyed doing it for hours. I had a boss that recognized this skill and took me to a comic book store to try and feed that talent that he saw. Another boss saw drawings I was doing for my blogs and said I should really do more drawings. It was true that I had a hard time finding deep meaning in designing junk that old ladies bought for their yards like garden gnomes. I think this came out in my performance, and I got let go. But I got another job for a short time, in which we discovered the same thing. But in the exit interview, when I asked my boss what he recommended I do next, he said without hesitating, "Your art." Okay, so at that point, what would you say my strengths are? I would say art and empathy for people. What would you say my passions are? I would say writing, art, inventing. And what were the elements of my hard journey? I'd say dealing with doubt, sexuality, guilt, and Christian culture. So what would you say would be the overlap between my strengths and my passions? Art was the most obvious one. And what would you say my mission could be? I determined my mission to be to make art supplemented by writing to help others who struggle with doubt. Here is another strength, passion, and hard journey that I didn't tell you about. Even though it has taken me a very long time to learn how to do friendships well, I love to make people feel welcome and feel better after than before I interacted with them. And something else I struggled with was feeling such a tragedy when I couldn't create the ideas that I had in my head. I remember often being struck with great sadness when I saw a sunset, because I realized that all the dreams I had hoped to get done that day were not getting done. So this drove me to make schedules of how to spend my time to accomplish my writing and drawing projects. Over time, this desire and sadness to create drove me to find solutions. And since then, I have struggled hard to find out my mission and ways to accomplish it. So guess what that equips me to do for you? The same. I have struggled with how to find and pursue my mission, so I can help you do the same.